Welcome to EDH Inspired Ideas, where your journey of awakening truth and transformation begins. I'm your host, Ed Houston, and I'm a spiritual intuitive, a storyteller, a way shower. After decades inside organized religion, corporate America, and my own inner walls of fear, I've discovered a whisper that changed everything in my life. This is the Whisper Within series, the first of many soul journeys we'll travel together. Here, we listen beyond the noise, we trust the quiet call of our hearts, and we remember who we truly are. I want to thank you for choosing to be here. Your whisper brought you here. And now, let's begin. Previously on The Whisper Within, my faith is now love. That was the moment that changed everything. But it wasn't the beginning. The beginnings can be terrifying because the whisper doesn't just guide you forward. It asks you to leave something behind. For me, that meant letting go of everything I thought needed to be accepted by God. The rules, the rituals, the approval, and let's not forget the fear. I had built my whole entire identity on being right with God. And now, the whisper was pulling me towards freedom, not certainty. Let me take you into that moment when I first felt the ground beneath my spiritual foundation crack. Not because I stopped believing, but because I started to remember something very deep. It all began during a quiet morning. I was sitting in my early morning usual prayer and meditation spot. Bible open, trying to hold my quiet time. But something felt off. I was like, was I performing for God I no longer feared? Trying to fit myself into a box that I no longer held as truth? And then I had a familiar inner whisper like rose up in me again. It was, what if you're not here to be accepted by God, but to remember that you were never separated with Him from the beginning? Now that cracked me open wide. And I was like, okay, this is huge. In this episode, I titled this one, Letting Go of the God I Thought I Knew. I'll share how that question unraveled decades of religious conditioning and how my spiritual awakening didn't start with the revelation from the heavens, but from the courage to question what I was told, never to question. Because sometimes faith, it isn't about adding more. It's about unlearning and remembering. There was times I'd be in the gym at 5 a.m. I'd push my body, but inside, I was the one really breaking. After those workouts, I'd go sit in my car in the parking lot, sweating, tears mixed in, and just breathing, and I would just pray. Not the kind of prayer that you use like when I preach, but raw, trembling questions. God, why is this happening to me? Why is this breaking me? Something inside me was just shifting, and it scared me. I finally opened up to my wife, and I told her the truth that I had been holding inside. I told her I didn't want to serve in ministry anymore. And that shattered her. She felt betrayed. My confession, it didn't fix the marriage, but I was honest. And in that honesty, I did find a flicker of something deeper rose up in me. It was a kind of faith that was born to surrender. I started reading everything I could get my hands on that was spirituality related, from Eckhart Tolle, Dr. Joe Dispenza to Wayne Dyer. Each book brought a voice that felt like it was giving me language for what I was going through. It was not answers, but it was mirrors, reflections of hope. And that was enough to keep me going. As we still went to church, I smiled, worship, I played my part, but inside I felt like a stranger. I didn't fit in it no more, and that scared me too. I tried to talk to friends, even close family members. I softened my words, I meet them halfway, use the old Christianese language we used to say, just to feel seen. But most of the time, I would try to go deeper, and then they would go quiet, and I would get that strange look. So I stayed in the spiritual closet, researching on my own, reflecting, awakening in silence. That's what it was. Pure awakening in silence. My marriage was under strain. My job became tense and hostile. You see, every year or two, we were packing up, moving again to a new state. I had a new opportunity, then new schools, daycare for the kids, trying to rebuild a sense of normal for the boy's life. And at the time, it felt random, chaotic, unfair. But looking back, I see it for what it was. It was a divine dismantling. Piece by piece, everything I had built was being undone. Not to destroy me, but to free me, to make space for the whisper to grow stronger within me. And slowly, as my inner knowing deepened, my confidence grew. My confidence was building. And for the first time, I truly stepped out of my comfort zone. I joined a spiritual group. The host, someone with a deep presence, channeled a collective of higher beings. They were called the Council. Now, in the beginning, I was very skeptical. My Christian upbringing kicked in like, is this really real? Is this okay? Some kind of sort of dark ministry gonna come? I mean, take over you or something? But after a while, it didn't take long because the messages, they were coming forth, they were flowed with wisdom and truth. And it really hit me at a soul level. It wasn't fear-based at all. It wasn't demeaning. It was an obedience. It was love. It was truth. It was exactly what I was needing to hear at the time. And for those of you listening who haven't heard of channeling, people talk it all the time. They say, I'm channeling whatever athlete or entertainer. But in the metaphysical circles, there's a well-known teacher called Esther Hicks. She channels the group called Abraham. And if you heard of those teachings, or if you heard of the movie that was behind it, it was called The Secret. So this isn't like woo-woo. I mean, it's frequency. And the right ones who find it when they're ready. And at the time, boy, was I ready. As I got to know the other people in the group, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. I could actually breathe again and speak freely. I had no mask. I didn't have to play along or pretend. I could just be me. And they saw me. They listened to me. Some were going through situations just like mine. And there were others that they had the kind of alignment I was craving, hoping that other side I could experience. But eventually, I scheduled a private session with the council. And it took me a lot to do it, but it was time. And let me tell you, I was not prepared for what I felt. The energy, the power that I felt in those words, the presence, it literally brought me to tears. They confirmed what I was going through, everything, the experiences. And they were saying to me it was unfolding for my highest and for my highest good. They told me I was supported, I was guided, that my soul had chosen this path, and that even the dismantling I felt was divine. It comforted me, it steadied me, it gave me a glimpse of the desires my heart would experience one day. But when the call ended, and I sat there in the stillness by myself, there was one thing they didn't say. One thing I silently wished they had confirmed. That somehow my marriage would survive. But they didn't. They didn't say it wouldn't, but they didn't say it would either. And deep down, a part of me knew that letting go wasn't over yet. This part of the journey wasn't pretty. It wasn't easy, and it was kind of messy, but it was necessary. Before something can be reborn, it has to break. Coming up next time, I will share the moment when everything finally cracked and how I discovered what happens when you stop clinging to your old identity and choose to follow the whisper anyway. I want to thank you for walking with me through this tender chapter. If today's story stirs something within you, and if you ever question your faith, your path, or your place in it all, just know you are not alone. The whisper within you isn't here to break you. It's here to awaken you. And as messy as the middle may be, it's all part of the metamorphosis. To help you grow even deeper, I've created a free companion guide for episode 2 with reflection prompts, journaling space, and a few soul-touching quotes to support you on your journey. You can download it absolutely free right here using the link in the show notes or video description below. And if this episode spoke to your heart, I love to hear from you. Share it with someone you care about, or simply take a moment today and listen to your own whisper. Hey, make sure you subscribe, because in the next episode, we will step into the moment everything cracked and the decision I had to make that changed everything. Until then, my friend, trust the breaking honor and the whisper. And remember, truth isn't taught, it's remembered.